Hello, I am Eric Tenkar, and this is Tavern Chat. Welcome to the podcast. So today, I'm going to step a little bit outside the general parameters of the gaming podcast um, and talk vaguely, I guess, about something that just came up. I was asked by a member of the gaming press, significant uh, gaming press, not like being interviewed by me, but to be interviewed regarding, you know, Gary's legacy and peripherally events, I guess, or peripheral pieces to that. And I thought about it, and I remembered something that they taught me in the police academy back in 1996 and has been hammered into my head repeatedly. And it comes down to this: never trust the press. Okay? Because if they want to interview you, they're looking for the following. They want you to implicate yourself, they want you to implicate others, or they want you to implicate yourself and others. Doesn't mean that you committed a crime, but they want you as part of their story. Now, for me, my first experience with this was the New York Times, which reached out through, I guess, a mutually known individual to me years ago regarding um, police parking. Yeah. And I was told I could be anonymous just using my pen name, but they wanted to interview me. And the idea was that they were not going to be interviewing me for anything, I knew this, other than a great quote to put into an article. And I read the article that came out later, and I could tell for sure that it was a hit piece in general on cops. Okay. And I still had public postings, and I had told the mutual person, you can let them know that I'm declining the interview, but my public postings are my public postings. They can do with it as they will, and they did. That's fine. That's public postings, right? You can't misquote something that's already out there on the internet. I have been misquoted not by the press, but by members of the community, the larger community, or taken out of context. And although I am not saying that would have happened in this situation, I am falling back on my training, which is nobody in the press really wants to hear what you have to say unless you're a witness, right? If you're a witness and you can describe the event that happened, they'll give you your 10 minutes of fame. But if you're not a witness, if you are possibly part of the news, they don't want that. They want something that's going to put you in the box, so to speak, because that's the story. Okay? We like to think that news in general is about getting facts out there, but it isn't. It's these days, it's about getting clicks. That's a simple fact. Because those clicks drive advertising, and advertising drives money. So, in this case, I politely declined. And I politely declined because, in all honesty, the questions that were going to be asked are already addressed on the blog site. So there's nothing I could have added to the conversation that isn't already publicly available unless they wanted to steer a conversation in a direction to get certain answers. I don't know, but I didn't need to play that game. The reason why I don't delete anything from the blog. I will amend, I will edit, but I do not delete. First off, the internet has an infinite memory. Check out the Wayback Machine. You'll see what I mean. Now, if I delete something now that was from years ago, you can still find it if you want to take 2 minutes of your time to attempt to do so. So why remove it? Like I said, I might amend it, but I will not remove. So if the questions in this case we're going to be dealing with the Gygax Memorial Fund, it's all up there. It's not hard to find. But asking me about Gen Con, which is going to be one of the topics, which I haven't attended in 25 years, would be pointless. So I turned down the interview politely because, rightfully so, it would have been a waste of time, as all the information that was indicated that was desired from me, what they wanted to ask about, all of it's available on the blog. And as an investigator, as a supervisor of detectives, I can tell you this much. Memory of what you have said or done 3 weeks ago, let alone 3 years ago, is not perfect. It's the reason why, if you are like a police officer subject to an internal investigation and you've already been interviewed, you can ask to listen to your prior interview. So you can correct your memory. Maybe you misremembered something. You can listen to what you said prior. That's why I like things like podcasts. That's why I like things like blogs. If you leave what's up there, you don't need me to say it a second time. Just go back and read it. So I don't know if the interview attempt was laziness and somebody didn't want to go and read blog entries for their article. The investigation is there on my end, but I don't need to repeat it from memory because I'm going to fuck that up for sure. So just go back and read it. But if I were going to give you legal advice, personal advice, don't talk to reporters for anything that you are involved with on any level, no matter how innocuous, because they're not looking for anything other than to get a story to sell. It's their job. I don't begrudge them that. But you don't have to feed the monster. On the same note, cops want to question you. It's one thing if they're asking for information on the street about, hey, did you see anything that happened? Do you see the direction that the perp fled in when he fired those rounds? Sure. Give them all the help you can. But if you're in the box, if you're in the station house and they just want to ask you questions, and there's any chance that you could become a subject, in that case, you lawyer up. That's cop advice. But as a member of just the RPG community, there's no reason for the press to need to interview you unless you are part of the story. And if I'm going to be part of the story, let my written words show what that is. So yeah, that was today's events. Interesting, huh? I can't even pronounce the name of the website that made the request, but I'll keep an eye out for the article if it appears and see what they quote or don't quote from my blog. But hey, I wrote it. I stand behind it. And as I always say, and if you've been following me on the blog side, you've seen this before, If I am wrong, I will own it. If I need to fall on a sword, I will fall on a sword. Done it before. Easier to fall on a sword when you don't try to change the past. Own it. All right, folks. On that note, interesting, right? On that note, I am going to log off because I have to do in 25 minutes of this recording RPG Coast to Coast on the 10 Cars Tavern Discord server. I'm one of the 5 guests we're talking about it. Oh, go figure, blogs and podcasts. A little bit of both today. God bless. Be safe. Roll your dice well. I will talk with you all tomorrow. Later, folks.